Good morning, students.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
doctor.
Okay.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning,
Well,
doctor.
okay, thank you. Today, before having the new material, I prefer just to start with the oral exam. Since I want just to have a good time for students, just to examine themselves for the titles that they suggested. So, beginning with the assignment, you see now we have 102 students
Yes, doctor.
who already sent their own assignments, and still we have 63. And for this, I want just to say that all students should participate because this is a specific mark for the oral exam. So it's only today, okay, to send their assignments because this will, continue till the end of the course. We are going to examine all the students, okay? So with this, I'm going to choose students who are going to examine, and then I'm going to give chances for those who want just to volunteer their own, participation. So starting with Aya Adil. Aya Adil, is she available? Aya Adil.
We don't know, doctor.
Okay. Asil Majid. Asil Majid. Amna Hussein. Anfal.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Anfal, Hussein, Ismail.
Yes.
The purpose of learning to use teaching methods.
Yes.
Tell me about your title now. What is your aim?
Well, I choose this title because I believe that it is an important material or subject that we have to learn it and teaching it as well.
Okay,
So,
you say the purpose of learning to use teaching method. Okay, you mean we have one purpose?
no, of course not.
So
We
why
have a
to
lot
say the
of purpose.
purpose?
Yeah,
You may say
I have to
purposes.
say purposes.
Yeah. You suggest that we have different purposes. Okay.
Yes.
So why not just to say purposes of learning? You see now, when we are talking about the title should tell something about the idea that you have. Okay. So
Yeah, of
if I
course.
ask you now, do you have one purpose or different purposes? Okay. This should exist in your own title.
Yes.
You see now, to use teaching methods. What do you mean by to use teaching methods?
That means that teachers how using teaching methods in schools and teaching
Okay,
students.
okay. We have different methods. Okay, we have different methods. So, do you believe that we have different teachers who are using different methods, or one method, or a single method?
Of course, there's different methods, but I mean
Okay.
this.
Do you believe that teachers use different methods in their own teaching, or
Yeah, of
they
course.
rely on one method?
No, no. There's a lot of methods that they use.
Okay, so is it allowed for teachers to use different methods in his own way of presenting the material, or
Well,
one method?
he will use different methods because each teacher is different from the other by his personality, by his education. So that's a normal thing to be different.
I believe your title should be modified in the way that you have to reflect the idea that you have in your mind. Instead of the purpose of learning to use teaching methods, you may say purposes,
Purposes, yes, of
for
course.
purposes for teachers to use different teaching methods.
Yes.
This will lead that you see now the reader for your title will conclude that you are going to
Understand what
check
included in
what
the
are the
paper.
purposes for teachers to use different methods and not to rely on one method. This is one.
Yes.
But if you are considering the word learning, okay, and the idea will be, changed into another, let me say, focus. That is what? Purposes for teachers to learn different teaching methods. You see now? So either just to say purposes for teachers to use different teaching methods, or to say purposes for teachers to learn different teaching methods. You see now? So in these two titles, the idea will be clear, but the idea will be different, by the way. If we have, two ways, it means that what do we have? Two ideas, and idea number one will focus on what? On learning different methods. Okay. The second idea will focus on what? On the purposes of using different teaching methods. So either just to say use or learn. Got the point now? So in this
Yes,
case,
doctor.
when the idea will be clear, your aim will be clear, and the plan for the research will be clear. Now,
Yes.
if we are talking about this, okay, do you think we have practical parts?
Well, of course, there is a
Okay.
practical part.
What is the form of the practical part? What you are going to do?
Well, first of all, they will learn this they will learn this
No, practically,
about the subject
please.
by
Practically, you have to have a tool. You know the word tool? A
Yeah.
tool to get a practical results for your own title. Got the point or not? Just tell me. I'm sorry.
Yes, doctor.
You know the word tool?
Yeah.
Tool.
I don't
T-O-O-L.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. What is your tool?
Well,
I'm going to tell you.
well, they have to.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Practically, you have to have a questionnaire. You know, questionnaire or checklists. You know, questionnaire or checklist. Okay,
No.
these are just to refer in Arabic, just like a form in which you are going to have different columns, and the teachers are going to fill. We refer to Arabic istibyan.
Oh, yes.
Got the point now? So this is your tool, questionnaire. Practically, you are going to go to teachers and you are going to deliver a checklist or a questionnaire, and they are going to write, or you are going to have the checklist for different purposes. And teachers will put ticks. You know ticks? Okay, this is my purpose. This is so teacher number one will tick on the purpose number one, while teachers number two will tick the other purpose. So your research will have a practical part, and it will be a checklist or a questionnaire.
Yes.
Is it
But
clear for you, Anfal?
they do it by apply what they have learned in schools, right?
So no, they are not just to say what to apply, but what do they believe? You know, what do they believe? What
Yeah, of
what
course.
are their own personal purposes?
Personality.
So that because your keyword in your own title is purposes, okay? So the purposes will be different according to different teachers that you are going to examine.
Yes.
You got the point now?
Yes.
Got it or not? Just tell me.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I got it.
so the tool will be delivered to different teachers. It's not only one teacher, because you are going to examine different teachers. You are going to deliver different sheets, you know, different sheets of the checklist. It's not only one checklist. I mean, different copies of the checklist that you are going to do, and it will be delivered to different teachers, and you are going to obtain the results. You are going to see what is to be considered according to the purposes that you put in your checklist, and you are going to check which purpose achieve high percentage. I mean, you are going to see that different teachers will choose, for example, purpose number 1, and then you are going to say this purpose, okay, this purpose is to be considered by many teachers to include for what? For using different teaching methods. You see now? So this is the idea. So you are going to deliver the checklist to different teachers, and you are going to collect the results after they fill the checklist.
But of course, not everyone can teach. The teacher should have most
No,
of
no,
the
it's
qualities.
not. You are going to deliver these checklists to teachers who are really practice their own teaching at schools. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, only let me say the graduate of let me say of specific specialization, and he is not practicing teaching. No, you are going to deliver the checklist for teachers who are really doing their own job at schools, and they are going to answer according to their own experience of teaching there.
Yeah, I meant by my title to why it is necessary to the teachers to know and learn how to use
But
teaching
what is
methods.
missing here? What is missing? Just to say different teaching. You see now, because you see now we don't have one teaching method. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the purpose either just to say why they are learning different teaching method, or why they are using. So either just to say use or learn. This is the idea.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Anfal.
You're welcome, doctor.
Okay, let us see.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me, please.
So about the practical side, like, can we consider writing practical?
No, it's not just to say writing. You say writing. It's not writing here. When we talk about practical part, we are talking about a tool to collect results. Maybe a test, maybe checklist or questionnaire. It's related to the topic that you are going to have. So it's not just so here test will include everything that you have. For example, when you talk about grammar, okay, if you
can
want
we say like a structure that they have to follow?
So here I mean, generally speaking, we have three main types of practical tools: tests, checklists, questioning. Got it or not?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So when you want just to examine something about writing, it will be related to a test.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, Doctor, in the
Yeah.
practical, you mean maybe it's speak or talking? This is a practical?
No, no. Here, the practical part is related to what you are going to obtain or to collect. You have something theoretical that you are going to have from resources, but you
So-
want just to prove it practically. By the way, it doesn't mean that all research should have
Yeah, this is
practical
what I
part.
want to
Okay,
ask about.
but
Oh,
it is
it's-
related to the topic itself. Does it include? And
Yeah.
that's why I say if you remember
Yes,
in
yes,
the,
if
in the
yes,
assignment,
yes,
if
yes, we
you
do.
have, it doesn't mean that all researches, all titles will have practical.
It's
part.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
depends,
Not all.
and
It's
that's why I'm discussing your own titles. I'm not saying that all titles will suggest, let me say, a practical part.
yeah. So maybe
Some
a
titles,
topic
some
doesn't have
titles are
a
descriptive.
practical.
You know the word descriptive.
Yes.
Okay, suppose that you have the title for Aya Adil. I don't know whether she is available now or not.
Yes, doctor.
Aya?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Now, you see now this title, comparison between present continuous and past continuous tense, by the way.
Yes. Yes, I told you about.
No, I'm not
title?
going to. I'm going to tell you about your title. Your title does not have a practical part. You see now, I want other students
Yeah,
to
yeah.
compare between the first title and the second. Here we have only a descriptive way of dealing with the title itself. So what do we have? We have two grammatical items to be compared. Now, if I ask you, I added,
Yes.
how can you
Yes.
compare? How can you compare? What you are going to do?
I tell you.
Yeah.
Doctor. First, I tell you about present continuous
Yeah.
tense.
Mhm.
It is formed with the subject last.
No. I wouldn't like you to explain what's meant by present continuous tense or past continuous tense. But I want you just to tell me what is your aim of study and how can you do comparison. This is my question. No.
Just you would compare.
How can you compare? I want you to tell me how can you compare what you are going to search for comparison. Suppose that you are going to do your research next year. You choose this title and you are going to do the research. What you are going to do when you say comparison? What you are going to do?
I put the key of present simple, present continuous, and past continuous.
Yes.
So yes. So in the present continuous,
I want you. I want you just to focus on the word comparison. Comparison. Okay. What does it mean? What does this word mean to you? Well, when we are going to check this word, you have to consider the meaning. What does it mean when I say comparison?
I found what is the difference
Yeah,
between us and what's the similar between us.
very good. This is what I want you just to say. So when you want just to compare, you are going to search about what are the similarities and what are the differences. This is what I want to just say from the beginning. You see now? So your job is just to what? To consider what is shared between the two tenses and what is the difference between the two, and that's it. So in this case, it is a descriptive study, and you are going to describe what is similar and what is different.
Yes.
Okay.
The similar between us.
No, I wouldn't like you to explain what are the similarities now, because this is not. This is not what we want just to say. We want just to identify the aim. So your aim is just to consider the similarities and differences. You don't have a practical part. You want just to compare. Thanks a lot, Aya. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay. We want just to say ابتهال ميثاق ابتهال.
Yes, doctor.
ابتهال, you have only narrative essay?
Yes.
Okay. Don't you think that this is a general title? This is a general title. It doesn't limit your own idea. It is a general title. Okay, narrative essay. What you want just to search for narrative essay? Okay, narrative essay, and that's it, Ibtihal. What do you have for this title? What is your aim?
The purpose of writing a narrative essay is to communication a good story and its meaning.
Ibtihal.
Yes.
This is not a title for a search. Just to search for. You have to limit your title. It is not narrowed. You know, you remember when we narrow a title. You remember what we did earlier when we say that we have a general title and then we are going to limit it. You remember these things from the beginning of the course?
Yes.
Okay, this is a general title. I wouldn't like you just to explain what is a narrative essay, because this is not, let me say, a subject to explain, but we are searching a title for a research. Okay, so you have to make a difference between a topic to explain and a title for a research. This is not a title for a research. You may change you may change your title and you add something to limit it. You may say, for example, EFL, learning performance in writing narrative essay.
It's a way to take a particular.
You have to add, you know, the word add. You have to add.
In particular,
other keywords for your own title to be a research title. You may say EFL learners' performance in writing narrative essay.
Doctor, just because you ask us to choose any title,
Yeah, any
One more.
title, but a title for a research, not. I mean, you are free to choose any field, but you have to consider that
so
this
I
is not a
just
title for a
I ju-
research. This is not a title for a research, Tihal. You have to consider that we are doing a title for a research. So what does it mean? It means that it should be of having an idea,
yes,
and this idea should contain some sort of limitation. We are not accepting a general topic, because a general topic is not just to be considered as a research title. Got the point now? So you are free to choose any title, but a title for a research, not a general title.
to study it about type and ever type what have.
But you have to know that this should be clear in your title. It doesn't mean that you are going to have a general title and then you explain. Got the point now? Because I need a title for a research, not a general title.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, thank you, Tiha.
Welcome.
دكتور صباح
Yes.
الخير.
Yes, tell me.
دكتور بس عادي امتحن هسه لو إلا بالسرة على اسمه.
Well, the exam will be open. It doesn't mean that it will be limited for this lecture. Okay? I'm going to choose randomly, and then I'm going to give chances for students who want just to examine today or any other time. You see now? It doesn't mean that it will be limited to this lecture. So I don't know whether you are in a hurry to do it just now. We are going to specify different lectures for oral exam. It doesn't mean that it's only this lecture. Is that okay for you? So let me first choose, and then I'm going to give chances. Still we have time, by the way. Still we are at the beginning. We are going to have this lecture till 10:30. You see now, still we have 1 hour and a half. So let me choose first, and then I'm going to give chances for other students. Is that okay for you?
أوكي دكتور.
Ahmed Jabbar. Ahmed Jabbar. Ahmed Awad. Ahmed Awad. إسراء صالح.
نعم دكتور.
Okay. Human language and animals communication.
Yeah, دكتور.
Okay. Tell me about your title.
My title is related to linguistic. The aim of it that to show the similarities and differences between human language and animals in communication. For example, the human language.
Yes. Yes.
Human
Yes, go
language have a system.
Yeah.
But in animal communication, there is no system.
Okay. Before going to the details, don't you think that there is a missing word here in your title?
I don't
There is
know.
no. It is very clear. It is the word comparison, because you are doing what you are. Yeah. So you have to write it here. Okay.
Compare.
What you are going to do? You are going to compare. This is the aim, by the way. Isra, you remember I told you just to tell about the aim. So the aim should exist in the title according to the wording of the title itself. Okay. So here, when you write comparison, okay, exactly, you are going to have the aim in the title.
Yeah, it's clear.
You got the point now? So if I ask you now, what is your aim? You are going to say that I'm going to compare between the two ways of communication, human language and animals communication. You got the point now? So
Yeah,
here, if I ask you now, do you have a practical part in your title?
I think there is not practical part.
Yeah.
Because it just compare between them.
Okay. So what is the aim? What is the aim behind comparing these two ways of communication?
To show the difference and similarities, I think.
Do we have similarities here?
In use sound signals, there's
Yeah.
similarities.
So here, we want just to compare, just to see the differences and similarities, and just to highlight, you know the word highlight, or let me say realize or recognize something that is what human language is more complex than
Animals communication.
yeah, very good. Thank you, Isra.
Thank you, Doctor.
Victor,
Yes, please.
Victor, sorry, but can I edit my research title?
Well, let me choose first, and then you want just to edit. You mean you modify something just now?
No, but
You modify.
but the second
You want
one,
to participate?
I write in small, not capital, so I can edit.
Well, it makes no difference. By the way, this is an oral exam, and I'm behind the idea rather than the form. You know the point now? What I want you just to consider that this is an oral exam. I'm behind the idea. I'm discussing. If you check what I'm doing now, I'm checking orally what students can do. Okay, and that's why this is an oral exam. Okay, so it makes no difference if you do it in a capital letter or not. This is not my own aim.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
No, it's okay. Ban Haider. Ban Haider.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor.
Communicative output activities. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about your title.
My title. Okay. My title, it's allow students to practice using all of the language they know in situations that resemble a real setting. In these activities, a student must work together to develop a plan, solve a problem, complete a task. In another meaning, gives chance to students to practice using the language which represent their ability without the help of the teacher. In situation
Okay.
similar to everyday
Ban,
life
please.
situation. Yes, Doctor.
Well, when we are talking about your title,
Yes.
do you think that any reader who wants just to see this title will consider, I mean, what is it about? Or we have to, I mean, explain more in the title just to see what is it about. Here, when we talk about communicative output activities, for what? And from
About
where?
language, doctor. About language,
No, it's not.
communicative output,
But wait,
different language.
it's not. It's okay. Which skill for language that we have? So you have to consider that communicative output activities for speaking skill.
Yes, doctor.
Got the point now? So
Yes,
your title needs limitation, because when we are talking about communicative output activities, we are not having an idea about what you are going to tackle. Communicative output
doctor, we
activities
can.
for which skill that you are going to discuss. So communicative output activity for speaking skill. And then
Doctor, we can say the
still,
most common types of communicative output.
still
Yes.
still again the title is general. You may say communicative output activities for speaking skill, okay, of EFL, for example, learners. I mean, you are talking about what kind of learners, for native speakers or for foreign learners. You have to consider these. And when we talk about this, you are talking about activities that are to be done by whom. You have to consider that these activities are to be done by learners. And then you have to recognize what kind of learners we have. We have native learners or foreign learners. So you are going to consider, for example, foreign learners.
Yes, doctor.
So then you are going to say communicative output activities of speaking skill for EFL learners. So in this case, you have to add these words to make your title clear.
Yes.
Got it now?
Yes, I understand.
Your title is not clear in this case. You have to add these things, and when you add it, you are going to consider, okay, what you are going to examine. So your aim is about speaking skill, your aim is about EFL learners, and you are going to have specific activities that are to be done by learners alone without the participation of the teacher.
Okay, doctor.
Okay.
We can say.
Yes.
We can
yes.
say
Tell
it
me.
have two types: role plays and discussion.
Yeah, this is the details of the activities when we say what are these activities. But here you have to consider the changes that I made for your title, because your title is vague. You know, vague. It is not clear. You have to consider what kind of a skill and what kind of learners. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
حسن عامر مجلي. حسن عامر مجلي. سجاد فلاح. سجاد فلاح. سجاد فلاح. I don't know when we are talking about students here. I have two links, by the way. So here we have 14 students. Here we have 84 students. So totally we have only 98 students. So what does it mean? It means that approximately we have 70 students who are not existing. 70 students. it's okay with 4 students, 5, but 70 students are not existing in the, I mean, in the lecture. Sijal Abdul Jalil. Sijal. فاطمة علي عبد الواحد. فاطمة علي عبد الواحد. You know that this lecture is recorded. What does it mean? It means that when students are saying no, we are available, we are presenting in each lecture, this will prove that some students are not.
Yes, doctor.
So when I'm going to put the average, I wouldn't like students who are saying that we are available all the time. Mustafa Talib. Mustafa. Okay. Types of sentences in EFL students' paragraph assignments, a study on teaching and learning writing, higher education level. Tell me, Mustafa, about your title. Can you explain it to me?
نعم دكتور.
Yes.
The aim in this research, the students writing for 4 type of sentence in English
Yes.
students.
Yes.
And in this type of sentence, we can explain the idea.
So here we have types of sentences that are used in a paragraph.
Yes,
Okay.
doctor.
Okay. Can you tell me how many types?
So 4 types.
4 types. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Simple
that is
sentence.
simple, complex sentence. Okay, compound sentence, compound complex sentence. Okay. So, what is your tool for this? Do you have a practical part for the title?
Yes, doctor. Because in this type of sentence that in the students writing, which they research on the students scientifically.
So
of their own.
So the title, yeah. So the title has a practical part. So what is your practical part in your title?
Because by a type of sentence explain many ideas and explain many idea and very important by paragraph.
Mustafa, I'm asking you about the practical part. I'm asking you about the practical part of the research. The practical part is making a test. You know the word test. So you are going to examine students. You are going to give them a test in which they are going to write a paragraph, and then you are going to check how many types that they are going of sentences that are going to be written in the paragraph. So the title has a practical part, and this is a test, and the test will be about writing a paragraph, and then the paragraphs will be checked according to the types of sentences that are going to be written by students. Is it understood, Mustafa?
Yes, Dr.
You understand me? Okay.
Yes, Dr.
Okay. Thank you, Mustafa.
Doctor, we use all the type of the sentence in paragraph or just
well,
types?
according to this title, it means that the researcher will discover how many types. Maybe after checking all the responses. By the way, it means that there is a sample, maybe 40 students, 50 students, that they are going to write a paragraph, and then the researcher will do a correction. This correction is related to the checking of the types of sentences. It doesn't mean that all students will use all types of sentences. And it is not necessarily just to write all types of sentences in one paragraph. So some students will write one type, others write two types, others have a variety. But let me say, the good answer, that is the variation among these types. Writing a paragraph of one type of sentence, this will not be considered wrong, but this is not something, let me say, preferable. We want just
monotonous
variation. So it doesn't mean that it is necessary just to write all types. But here, the researcher will check how many types to be considered in different answers, and then what is the most useful, or let me say, what is to be achieved as the most used type among all the answers that are collected by students. And then the results is about, let me say, the percentage. For example, simple sentences are highly used. Complex sentences are used in different way. This is the way. So it doesn't mean that we are going to force students to write all types, because you see now it depends. It depends on the idea that are to be written regarding the paragraph itself. Okay, so this is
Thank you.
yes
Yes,
it depends. So let us see now. Noor Abdelrazak. Noor Abdelrazak Kadhim. Okay. Pay attention. Okay, tell me about your title. What is pay attention? By the way, pay attention. Pay attention. Begins with what? With what? Yeah. Begins with what? With a verb. Okay, so it is yeah, it is imperative. So can you tell me how can we consider that a research title? Yes.
We'll talk about in general. Pay attention is very important in learning process, and if we there is a practical next slide. First, we should choose a topic that interested in, like fun, positive, enjoyable. To do some preliminary research. Know your topic.
Well, I believe that your voice is not clear. So would you please repeat what you said? No. Say it once again. Say it once again.
Paying attention is very important in the learning process. And there is three practical ways. One, topics that interested in.
Well, I I believe that still it is not clear.
The internet is weak. Yeah, yeah.
For, I believe that there is, let me say, a technical problem. Yes.
وهلا كمان امتحانات وهمين كان عندي امتحان رواية شفوي وهمين هيك الأحجيلة الدكتور يطلع فما أعرف المشكلة وين بالضبط. هاي ثاني مرة تصير.
Well, by the way, when you speak in Arabic, it will be clear. I don't know. Is that the problem with Arabic? The problem when you speak in Arabic, it will be clear. But when you shift to English, the problem will exist. Anyway, you believe that pay attention as a title to be put in this way will be considered as a research title? Well, I don't think so. I believe that it needs more explanation. When I read this, I cannot come up with the idea that you have. Pay attention in what, and in which field? Pay attention in learning, and is it related to the learner? Okay, and if it is for the learner, what kind of learner? Okay, pay attention to which side, just to be considered, to the teacher who want just to make students pay attention to him, or to students who are going to pay attention to the teacher. So the idea will not be clear by having this. And even with this, it is if it is to be considered, sorry, no, if it is to be considered, it will be an educational, educational field. It is related to education rather than to your field of study. I mean, it is not related to English field. It is related to education. In other words, education. Okay. So this is what I want you just to say. I believe that, I mean, things that you consider should be put in your title. These things are not clear, as I told you. If it is an educational title, you have to consider to whom to be addressed. Is that for the students or for the teachers who want just to what? To make students pay attention to them. And if you say pay attention for the teachers, you mean the techniques. You may say for the techniques for making students pay attention to teachers. Okay, this is the idea. So still, your idea is general. Okay, and it is not clear. So it needs some sort of modification. Thanks a lot. No. Yeah, tell me. No, that's it. You did it, by the way. It doesn't mean, you see now, students who did their own examination, that's it. We don't have time just to repeat, I mean, examining students. Now, students who examined today, and by the way, I'm recording the lecture. It means that students can recognize that they did their own examination. So their names will be listed for doing today's examination. They are not required to do it next time. Other students, because you see now, I have 160 students, 65 students, it means that other times will be for other students to examine. Of course, I cannot cover all students in one lecture. Hajar Ahmad.
Yes, Doctor, I'm available.
Yeah. Language study. Can you explain it to me?
Actually, we studied in linguistic how we can use the language and how communicate with the world. So I choose this. Um, Especially it is a language of English. So we studied and we in this department we learn. We have many skills and we can.
Hajar, Hajar, if I ask you now, do you believe that the title that you have suggests all the things that you say? Do you feel that your title includes the ideas that you have in your mind? I
No.
believe that your title is too general.
Yes.
So, what do you want specifically? What is your aim? What is your aim? Language study. What do you mean by language study? What you are going to search about?
How we can develop our skills and how can help us study of English.
Okay, when we talk about skills and then learning, okay, do you believe that this title will include this idea? How can you put it? How can you put it? You may say something just to modify the title. Your idea is about how can we develop skills by learning a language. Is that right?
Yes, and why we use language.
Why we use language, generally speaking, or what? Or why do we use foreign language? What kind of language that you want just to study? Is that a foreign language or the native language?
In special, I want to talk about English language.
So here you may say something about these things. You see now, learning, okay, the purpose, you may say the purpose of learning a foreign language or purposes of learning a foreign language. Okay?
Okay.
You may say this to identify the idea in your mind, or the purposes of learning English as a foreign language. Is that okay, Hajar?
Yes, I'm with you.
So here, if you are talking about, I mean, why do we learn a foreign language, and more specifically English? You have to talk about purposes.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to change the title that you have because this title is too general.
Yes. Okay.
And it doesn't let me say recognize the idea that you have in your mind. Now I'm going to give chances for students who are ready to to examine today. So let us begin with Betul. Betul. Okay, I'm going.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, tell me.
You mentioned my name, but my internet was blocked. I'm so sorry. I didn't hear you. But my league.
Sajjad.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the chance. Okay, once again. But let us examine other students, and then I'm going to back to you. Betul. Yeah, Betul Isam. Betul
Yes,
Isam.
doctor.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yes.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. Okay, thank you. Okay, Batul, choosing and narrowing a topic in writing a research. That is your title.
Yes,
Okay. Tell me
yes,
about your title.
yes, doctor. Doctor, before starting to explain the title or my
Yeah,
title,
yeah,
what is the benefit or what's the aim of my title,
yeah.
or what is the use of this title that I choose today to discuss it. So, first, I'm a student in the third stage, and
Mhm.
after year, inshallah, I will be in fourth stage.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that this, but what I want to say is that in the fourth stage, I must be able to write a research worthy, sorry, of at my level as a fourth stage student. So
Yeah.
it is not easy to choose a topic for research and narrow it down. If I did not know these steps in the third stage.
Okay.
So this is the benefit or the aim of my title. And I have choosing a topic is one of the most important parts of the research process. As you begin researching with a specific topic in mind. And also I have the particular part.
Yeah.
Uh, Choosing and narrowing a topic thoroughly, any topic is suitable for research. But in my book, this is big in my book. But in practical terms, this situation is not so simple. A topic for a thesis research paper should lead to an interesting thesis statement. Anyway, I'll speak in our book in writing a research paper. What's this mean in particle parts in this topic? So, when I want to choosing any topic in a research paper, should I choose any topic in my mind? Surely is false or incorrect idea. So what's this mean? This mean I want to write. I want to choose the topic I interesting and I can writing about it, but not or not any topic I wanted. So before that I give or I want to research about information about this title and or topic. Uh, so if I, for example, if I want to choose the education or teaching in Iraq, so is this title or this topic good or well? Surely is a very general topic. So what I want to or what I do about this topic. First thing I should choose in and narrowing this title. For example, maybe it's called be about institutes or universities or schools. So it must be or I must go to narrowing this title or this topic
Well,
as like all
Batul,
possible topics. And yes,
yeah,
doctor.
yeah. First of all, I thank you for the explanation that you made for your own research title. But you see now, there is a very important point when you are going to decide which title that you are going to have. Is it researchable? This is very important. Is it researchable? What does it mean, researchable? Can I obtain results, or let me say, can I obtain new information when I'm going to have? Is it for a practical part? Is it for something that is not to be, written before? Can I have something new? These questions, you should put it in your mind when you are going to have a title. Of course, the topic that we have, that is choosing and narrowing a topic, okay, it is very important, but it is not researchable. What does it mean? This will be okay for a subject to be put in a book, but it is not a research title, because when I say choosing and narrowing a topic, we are going to explain the process. How can we have a general topic, and then we are
my
going to narrow
internet
it.
very
Please,
weak, so
please,
I don't.
okay,
or I
if we
don't hear you.
are considering, no, it's okay, Batul. I know that you recognize that this is a very important topic to consider. Yes, it's okay, and learners should know how can they narrow their own topic, how, and they choose it carefully. Yes, no one can deny that this is very important.
Doctor,
But this is,
Doctor,
yeah,
when
tell
I
me.
see my friend, when I see you speaking with my friend, I believe that my title is good, but not in this topic or this statement. So
Exactly.
I think if I want to add a word about the title, I say, or I put how choosing and narrowing topic in writing research. Yes, Doctor. I put this word, but I deletion this word because I want to. If I ask about title, there are many asking in my research.
I understand you, but what I want you just to say that here, this topic is not researchable. I mean, you are going to give guidelines, it's okay. You are going to tell, it's okay, but this will be a subject in a book, but not a title for a research. Because you see now, if I ask you, okay, you give guidelines, so what? These guidelines will be written by you and by others. These are instructions. Okay, you give instructions how to choose and narrow a topic. It's okay. This will be very important, yes, but it is not a researchable. What you are going to add? What is the addition of choosing this? So it is not a researchable. So I know that it is important, but it is what? It is just to be put as a subject in a book for writing a research.
Yes,
not
I don't know, because you say all title, or we free to choose
we know,
the title. So
you can
yes, Doctor, I know what you say to me.
You saw I mean, different students who are not following this instruction. I mean, how can they choose and how can they narrow? They chose a general topic. Yes,
Doctor,
and that's why I'm saying that this is important. Yes, it is important, but this is as instruction, okay, that students should, our learners of writing a research should follow. Yes, it's okay, but again, it is not a researchable because we cannot obtain new information. Instructions are to be given to learners. It's okay, but we don't have something to add. We don't have something just to prove. Okay, it is only just to have guidelines, and that's it. Anyway, thanks a lot,
Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor, when I choose this title, I want to learn maybe not all students know or learn how choosing.
I know.
I choose that about this.
Yes,
Doctor.
But here, this is the job of, let me say, those who are teaching methods of research.
Right.
I mean, if
Exactly,
they
doctor,
should
exactly.
study. You know, now any researcher should have an idea of writing a research in his study, and that's why here you are having this course, and even in the postgraduate stage, you know that there is methods of research, writing a dissertation or a thesis, the same thing. You see, now any researcher should take a course of writing a research, and within this there is a topic which is related to choosing and narrowing a title. So thanks a lot, Betul. Let us
Okay,
see
doctor. Thank you.
Tabarak Ali.
Doctor, doctor,
Yes,
can I write
yes.
any title in next lecture?
No, that's it, Betul. It's okay. You did your own participation, and you successfully defended your own title. Thanks a lot. Tabarak.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, doctor. Good
Tabarak Ali
morning.
Hussein.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. Tabarak Ali Hussein.
Yes. Okay.
We must study English grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm starting. Okay. A grammar, as we know, is the backbone of all languages. So without a firm understanding of the grammar rules, as a foreign language, we will not have this idea how to use words, how to use a phrase, how to connect them with each other. So
Yeah.
a proper understanding of the grammar is very important. It's because it enables us as a student to speak and write clearly and fluently, so we can communicate effectively with others. This is essentially the aim of a traditional grammar. So its function is to provide a set of rules for a language that we can all communicate with each other effectively and consistently. So
Yeah.
correct grammar is your key for speaking English fluently and confidently. So knowing our grammar will help us to avoid errors that makes us or our English sound strange to native speaker. So if we can say there is in some situation a grammar or learning a grammar or English grammar is very important to know, because for example, if you are going to a job interview in any speaking country or English speaking country, the employer will be interested in now your quality of in speaking and writing English, because there is some researchers that said in recent surveys in UK job requires 15% of them, they said bad spelling and the grammar was the biggest reason they would dislike an application. The correct grammar will not just demonstrate your English skills. It also show you how you are diligent, how you are good English, how you are looking to the details on how you want to improve your English. Because maybe I'm Arabic, I'm speaking English. This is a very special to me when I maybe get a job, because you will have two languages to speak, Arabic and English. It is very important, especially when you want to go abroad to study language, because college and universities in general are likely to know your academic English based on your knowledge of English grammar. So grammar, it is even important also for our social life, because maybe you are meeting a new people or visiting a new places. So the last thing you want to do is to misunderstand to others, because to avoid confusing your maybe friends, even maybe when you want to order something, you want to be clear that your grammar is good. So grammar is important in writing, in reading, to be communicator, listener, speaker. Also, understanding grammar is necessarily in really reading, learning a foreign language. Grammar, as we know, is one of any language. So the best way to learn a foreign language is to study grammar and to put it together phrases and sentences that make sense. So grammar is very important to make our speeches logic, to give us the ability to speak in communicative way, in a good way. We can, by grammar, reading a good way, we can speaking in a good way, communicative in a good way. It's very important. And I'm against the idea that you said, one of the articles I read lately that said, when you study grammar, it's a waste of time. I don't think so, because grammar is very important in any language. about practical side. There is
Before that,
Yeah.
I want just to say something.
Yeah.
Your title should be, I mean, not written as a sentence. You see, we must study English grammar.
Doctor, I was
Okay.
written in a question, but I afraid that
No,
you
it's
said,
not a question. It's not a question. It's a sentence, yes. But the title should be rephrased in the way we may say the advantages of studying English grammar, for example. Okay.
Okay.
Usefulness. You see,
Yes.
the title. The title should be rephrased in the way that you are going to have the keywords of the idea that you have. Okay, we need just to have keywords, just like advantages.
Okay.
Okay, usefulness.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, when we say this, okay, we want just to prove that scientifically. What does it mean?
Yeah.
It is not just to consider our personal beliefs about these things.
No.
You know, this is a title for research. The research should follow the scientific.
We need evidence to prove it.
The evidence is related to what? Related to the schools of grammar. Okay, those who are considering grammar as something very important. Okay,
Doctor,
so the idea here, when we say that advantages of studying English grammar, okay, you have to specify this according to what, which school, to which theory. Okay, so here this will be a specification.
I was thinking that using math as something that obligatory, that we must study English grammar, it will be understandable that I will talk about advantage.
Do you feel that there is something obligatory in learning?
I don't know.
Have something.
Maybe I want to prove it. As you say, doctor, I want to prove it.
It's not this way, because you see now we don't have something obligatory. But here you may say that necessity. You may choose something to recognize the importance of studying English grammar, the necessity, okay, of studying English grammar. This is to recognize what you have in your idea, in your mind. But let me tell you something.
Yes.
That you may find somebody who argue. You know the word argue.
Exactly.
Doctor,
yeah. So
here, this is your job, to defend your own idea.
Exactly.
When we talk about the practical part, you may say something about the practical part. So tell me.
Before this, please. As you say that there is the people that argue about this time and say in the end, when I speaking that I read some researches, I read some article that said when you maybe teaching grammar is a waste of time. So when I say this point about grammar, I want to tell them no. There is a necessity, there is an important to learn grammar.
Very good.
Yeah. This is my idea was here exactly. I was must to prove it, so I defended in the other, so I have two sides.
Very good. Very good. Very nice. Very nice. I'm here. To tell you that the rephrasing of your title will reflect what you have in your mind, and that's why I'm asking these things.
Yes.
This is one. Second, I believe that this title will be, let me say, important once you are going to have evidences for these things. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay. So So what I need you just to know, to think of this title, if you want just to do it next year, okay? To read about these things more,
Yeah.
okay? Because here, I'm not going to discuss what are the necessity of studying grammar and what are the argumentative opinions about these things, because this is something related to you. This is if you want just to have this title with you next year, this is your job. But
Yeah.
what I want just to emphasize, that is the wording of the title. If it is to be put in a different way, it will
will be better.
reflect, if it will reflect exactly what you have in your mind.
Exactly. So
Right now?
yeah, it's very clear
Yeah.
about practical.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a story behind the practical side.
Yeah.
Because when I was a student in a primary, in intermediate school,
Mhm.
and high school,
Mhm.
I was suffering from grammar. So I was afraid. I was thinking myself, how can I study this grammar? So
Yeah.
the first thing, when I was in intermediate school, I was take 70 out 100 in English.
Yeah.
So when I started to make this practical, in the
Yeah.
first month of the third stage, I take in the first exam of English 50 out 50.
I see.
So the first thing I made it, the first thing that I'm looking to the activity book.
Mhm.
I'm starting to understand everything. For example, when we take past simple, I found some exercises. The practical thing is the exercises, our test, our MCQ. Maybe
Yeah.
our book, there is some box that we tell us, teach yourself. There is exercises to ourselves to improve ourselves in this side. So I'm starting looking for every word. I'm starting not to study English in Arabic English. I'm started to looking for videos to help me in English. So this
Yeah.
is then helped me to know the tenses in general, because tenses, if I studied in Arabic, I found problems. I didn't understand
Yeah.
what they mean. But when I studied them in English, I'm very, very nice to learn it. I found the differences in general well. So we have the first thing, we have a grammar box. There is a famous grammar book that or call it grammar box practical exercise. So we can consider it's one of the most important thing to practice grammar. It is contain different multiple exercise to measure our understanding of a grammar. Maybe, for example, arranging sentence, correcting sentence, but the sentence in a correct tense. This is something you practice, practical. We think about it and make it and apply it in a sentence.
Very good. Very good. Anyway, thank you so much, Tabarak, for all the things that you mentioned.
Thank you.
And I hope that you can do it next year.
Thank you.
If it is just to be proved by your supervisor. Anyway, I'm going to tell you something, students.
Yes.
Since we have many students who want just to participate, I'm going to have additional hour, and it will be optional. You know, our lecture will end at 10:30, but we are going to continue to 11:30, and it will be optional. What does it mean? Those who want just to leave, they are going to leave after 10:30. And students who want just to participate, I'm going to give additional hour, because now I want just to have something from the book, because you know we want just to have something for the new material. Once we finish, we are going to back to your participation. So is that okay for you all?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, doctor.
Because I have here 23 students who want just to participate, and here we have other students who want just to participate. So I wouldn't like students who lose their chances, but at the same time, I wouldn't like just to take all of the lecture for participation. We need just to have a new material. So what I want you now just to back to your textbook and just to move to chapter 8. You remember last time we said that chapter 7 is an example for a complete research, just to have a look at it. and that's it. But what we need just to have to study is chapter 8, that is format conventions. So I want you just to follow me with this chapter. The second paragraph. What does it mean, format convention? A convention is an expected and accepted way of doing something. Conventions of format in writing have to do with the spacing, margins, and other relative things that are usually have little to do with the substance of a paper, but then can have a lot to do with the reader's reaction to it. You have to consider that the format is to be considered when we want just to know the form. You know the word form. When I say
Yes.
the form of
Yes.
ORM. Okay,
Yes.
how can I formulate my paper? Okay, what are the punctuations that I'm going to do with these things, and how can I arrange for these things? How can I place it? You know the word place it, to put it in on paper.
Yes.
So what we need is just to know these things, and more specifically, I mean, we want just to select the most important things, because we are talking about the number of nodes, or the Arabic numerals, or the Latin. These things will not be just to be considered in detail. Later on, we are going to have it, but we are going to have something which is very important, that is presented quotations on page 120. Now the question is, how can I present quotations? How can I present quotations? How can I place it? How can I put it in my research paper? Okay. Be sure you quote accurately. If possible, check the quotation in your final draft against the source they come from. If the source is no longer available or not reasonably handy, against your note cards, you may find you made mistakes copying quotations from draft to draft. By the way, you remember that we have cards just to put quotations, if you remember last time when we talked about taking notes, okay? But now the job is different. How can I shift the quotation from the card to the paper that I mean the final form of the research? Now we have different things to consider. First, we have short quotations. If a quotation will take up 4 or few lines of typing in your paper, it's a short quotation, such as remark you see now. So if it is to be short, 1 line, okay, you are going to write it within your writing. What does it mean? It will not be separated. You are going to encircle it by quotation marks, but it will be within your writing. Is it clear when I say it is short? When it is short, it will be written within the text that you are going to have. I mean within your own writing. And here is an example for these things. Yeah, there is. Suppose that you are going to have a definition, which is, for example, short. You have only just to put it between 2 quotation marks and to put it within the text that you have. That's it. Okay. But if it is long, what you are going to have? If a quotation would take up more than 4 lines of typing in your paper, it's a long quotation. So you are going to have short quotation and long quotation. You must give it in a special treatment so it will be easy to read and clearly identifiable. So what does it mean here? I'm going to separate it, and this is very important. In long quotation, it will be written in a separation. You are going to have a space, and it will be written in just like a poem. You know a poem? You leave a space in 2 sides, left and right, and it will be in the mid. I believe that the picture that is found on page 1, 2, one is clear for you. Can you see the quotation? Can you see the quotation here?
Yeah, Doctor, it's clear.
Yeah,
Yes,
at the bottom, it is written in the mid, and it is separated. Separated from what? From the text that you have, from the things that you are going to write. So it will be considered by the reader as what? As a long quotation. Is that okay? Is it clear?
Yes, Doctor, yes.
Okay. Let us see
Yes.
another point. By the way, these are, as I said, instructions. If you have a short quotation, you are going to write it within the text. If you have long quotation, it will be separated and it will be written in a different way. That is what in the mid of the paper. Now, let us see another important point. That is omitted word. What does it mean? Omitted word from what? From the quotations. Sometimes you want to omit words in the middle of a quotation because they are irrelevant or awkward when out of their original context. Simply replace the omitted words with the ellipsis mark. You know ellipsis mark? It's just dots. You know dots? That they are written between two brackets. You can see the three dots, three space dots with a space at the beginning and at the end. Is that clear? So you
Yes.
have to consider that if you have omitted words, you write dots, three dots. Yes. On page 1, 2, 3, the second paragraph. Sometimes, however, you want to quote the first part of a sentence and omit the end of it, and continue cutting again with the next sentence. Suppose that you want to delete the underlined part of the following quotation. So the solution, what is the solution here? The solution is to use 4 dots this time without a space before the first one. By the way, you have to consider these things because in the exam I'm going to ask you about the differences among these things. Okay, so you have to consider if you have this case, what you are going to do. Here you have 4 dots. Okay, once again, the solution is to use 4 dots this time without a space before the first one. Okay, a period, in the other words, followed by 3 dots that make up the ellipsis mark. You see, and you can consider between the difference between the first one and the second one. Be sure, of course, that the passage still presents complete sentences, not sentence fragments. What if you want to omit a paragraph or more? To omit a single paragraph, use 4 dots, 1 for the period of the sentence, you just ending, and 3 for the omitted paragraph. So these conditions should be considered when you are going to have quotations. Okay. Now, we have something which is the opposite. That is on page 124. The added words. So we have omitted words and then we have added words. What do you mean by added words here? Sometimes you need to add an explanation. This is very important. What do you mean by explanation? The explanation that you made. Okay, it is a quotation. Within a quotation, you are going to explain inside it. Okay, so sometimes you need to add an explanation within a quotation so that the quotation will make sense. So that is what elaboration, elaboration, but doesn't mean that you are going to elaborate so much. You are going to elaborate in 1 word, 2 words, okay? So in this case, what we are going to do, use brackets to separate your words from those you are quoting. By the way, these, let me say, marks, for whom? For the reader of your research. To consider, if we have brackets, what does it mean? If we have dots, what does it mean? Okay, so these are very important for readers. Okay, if the reader can see brackets, it means that this is your own explanation for the quotation that you have. So is it clear or not? Just tell me.
Yes, doctor. It's
Okay.
clear.
Okay. Do not use parentheses instead of brackets, or your readers may think that they are still reading part of your quoting material. This is very important. Many typewriters do not have a key for brackets, and this is something technical. Okay. Now we have this paragraph. The word sick is Latin for thus. This is very important. As used here, it means the wording was thus in the original. I have recorded the wording faithfully. This is very important. So this is a Latin word which is used in a research to refer to something, and this is very important. I have recorded the wording faithfully, but I know it contains an error. However, when you quote from a very old piece of writing, Renaissance literature, or for instance, in which spelling and punctuation are markedly different from what is normal today, you need not mark such errors with sick. So there are cases to use sick and cases not to use sick. Is that okay?
So, Doctor,
Any question?
Okay, doctor.
Please, Doctor, question.
Yes, tell me.
Yes.
Yeah, Tabarak, yes.
If we want to copy something from old, as you say, meta-Renaissance literature, we should change the old word into our daily using and our modern English.
Here in this book, you say when you quote from a very old piece in which spelling and punctuation are markedly different from what is normal today, you need not mark such errors. So here you have to keep it as it is. You are not going to, to write it as, let me say, an error. But if you want just to explain, as we said earlier, use brackets, by the way. Okay. Didn't we say that we use brackets to explain? So you can use brackets to explain if it is old.
So I will not.
For example, the word though. You know though, THOU.
Yeah.
It means you.
Yeah.
Okay. You can use brackets. Okay. Large brackets to say you.
Yeah.
Within the quotation, in order just to explain the meaning in the ordinary English.
It's very clear. Thank you very much.
It's okay. Now, here we have altering. You know, altering means changing. Altering a quotation. What are the things that you are going to change? We said you should be careful to quote exactly, but you can alter. What do you mean by alter? Change. The capitalization at the beginning of your excerpt or following an ellipsis. You wouldn't want to begin one of your sentence like this. So what does it mean? When you have the quotation in the midst of your writing, for example, you are writing a paragraph, but you are reaching the mid here. It is not the beginning of let me say, of writing a paragraph, but you have a quotation here. When you write a quotation, you have to begin with the capital letters. Why? Because you are having the beginning of the quotation, not the beginning of the paragraph that you have. Clear or not? Just tell me. I'm going to repeat.
Yes, doctor.
I'm going to repeat.
Doctor, clear.
Normally, when we write, we begin with capitalization if we begin with a new paragraph. Is that okay? But if it is happened and you have a quotation in the mid of the paragraph, not at the beginning of the paragraph, shall we write it in a small letter? No. You said that we have to write it in a capital letter because it is the beginning of the quotation, not the beginning of the paragraph. So you have to write it in a capital letter.
It is very clear, Doctor.
Okay. Okay. So this is what we call changing. Okay. So go ahead and capitalize. You see now? So you have to capitalize because this is the beginning of what? Of the quotation.
Of quotation.
Okay. Now on page 125, you also can highlight or emphasize a portion of a quotation. You know, highlight to put it in a different color. I mean, just to have, you see now, bold, you know the word bold. Or you may write it in italics, you know italics? In, when
Yes,
it is written in a different way, or underlining. However, you must ensure that readers can tell who added the emphasis, you or the original writer. You see now? Or, ordinarily, and you see now, an underlining in a quotation belongs to the original passage. Therefore, if you alter the material, provide an explanation in parentheses at the end of the quotation or in your note for the passage. Okay, a statement such as an emphasis added will do. See now? So these are your techniques in writing your quotation. Similarly, when readers see an ellipsis or words in brackets in quotation in your paper, they'll think that alternation is yours. If a change appeared in the source you're quoting, explain this in parentheses after the quotation or in your note with a statement such as ellipsis in original or words added in original. So this is things that you have to consider. Okay, so explanation is your own duty, is your own job. If it is to be added, if it is to be omitted, okay, these things should be explained by you. Okay, punctuation with quotation marks. Periods and commas always go inside quotations marks, even if the mark is part of your sentence and not part of the quotations. Okay. Colons and semicolons always go outside quotations. Quotation marks. Okay, so you have to consider these things. Question marks and exclamation points go inside the quotation mark if the quotation itself is a question or an explanation or exclamation. Otherwise, place them outside the quotation marks. So if it is to be put outside, it means that this is yours. Okay? But if it is to be put inside, it means that it is quoted. Is that okay? So if I put the question mark inside, it means that it is originally a question. But if I put it outside, it means that it is me to question about the quotation. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
Now, we move to page 126, and this is very important. Quoting poetry. And this is very important for those who are interested in literature. Because of its spatial nature, you know, there are special rules for quoting poetry. Okay. So here, quoting a single line of poetry. If you are quoting a single line of poetry, it treated basically like a short quotation of prose. So as we did, we put it within the text. We did this for the line. But do we have something different? Yes. What is the difference? The difference from a short quotation of a prose is that you do not need a note every time you quote from the same poem. Give a note for the poem the first time, of course, so that the reader can locate the source you are using. But the first time and afterwards, except for a very short poem, place the line number or numbers you are quoting immediately after the quotation marks and before commas, periods, or other or punctuation. That way, readers aren't constantly distracted by notes and wondering if perhaps they are overlooking an explanatory note rather than just a citation of the poem's line numbers. Of course, be sure readers can tell from your context what poem they are reading if you are discussing more than one. Is that clear or not? Just tell me. Any question about these things? Are they clear when they are explained in the book? If there is a question, just tell me.
Doctor, about this. If you want
Yeah.
just to take some lines from about, just we make it, as you say, as a quotation.
Later we have something. Now here we have one line, okay? This is one line. It's about one line. Still we have something. See now? You see now, quoting 2 or 3 lines. This is the answer for your question. Quoting 2 or 3 lines of poetry. If you are quoting 2 or 3 lines of poetry, you can use the following technique. If you like, or you can use the technique we explain in the next section. For 2 or 3 lines of poetry, you can place the poetic lines in your paragraph as with a single line of poetry. The difference is that you separate the poetic lines with a virgule. You see now? So we have here a mark. You see now? With a space on each side. This is the answer. Is that okay?
That is very clear. Thank you very much.
Okay. Notice that we don't document the line number here because the introductory comment. Okay. Now, quoting 2 or more lines of poetry. You can present 2 or more lines of poetry, something like a long quotation. Again, just like a prose. Okay. Again, it will be separated and it will be put, in the mid. And I believe the picture tell you how is it to be put in your research paper. So is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Now
okay.
on page 128, the rules for the omitted words, added words, errors in the quoted material, and punctuation with the quotation marks apply for poetry as well as prose. As we said about added words, omitted words, okay, these things will be applied also in poetry, same thing. Okay. However, do not alter, this is very important. Do not alter capitalization of quoted poetry to fit your context. Change your context instead. This is very important. You know, we did changes in capitalization in a prose, but it is not allowed for poetry. So what do we have instead? We change the context. What does it mean? We begin a new paragraph. We begin a new paragraph, and that's why we begin capitalization in this way, in this case. So changing the context, what does it mean? We begin a new paragraph. We are not going to put it in the mid. So instead of capitalization poetic lines, we are going to start a new paragraph beginning with the capital letter because it will be okay in this case. Is that okay? So in this case, we have difference between poetry and prose.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Now, omitting lines of poetry. If you want to omit the entire line or more of poetry, indicate the omission with a line of spaced dots about the same length as the you just quoted. You see now, this is very clear here in the book. Notice that we triple spaced after the line of dots to indicate that the next quoted lines are in the another stanza. Okay, so this is the things that we want just to have in this chapter. Other things, by the way, other format conventions, I mean the forms, typing, you know, the word that this is something very technical, you know, when we talk about typing. And by the way, nowadays we don't have typing, we have printing, you know. We use computers just to have the form of things. And these are purely technical. We are not going to emphasize them, the typing, the paper, the size of the paper, things that are mentioned here, cover sheet, outline, margins, and spacing. These are purely technical. We are not going to go through them, but we need just to emphasize things on page 138. 130. We have numbering pages. We have a system, you know the system. The content, starting from chapter 1, it will be Arabically numbered. You know Arabically numbered? The number.
Yes.
You know, we say 1, 2, 3. This is Arabic number, by the way. Arabic number is not the Arabic number that we use. This is what we call Indian. They are not Arabic. But Arabic, when you say 1, okay, 1, 2, 3, this is Arabic number. Okay, this is when we move from chapter 1 till the end of the research. Before that, we used Latin, you know, Latin number. That is, you see now, this is just like I in English, yeah. Okay, it is Latin before chapter 1. For example, for the table of contents, for let me say dedication, for the acknowledgement, for the abstract, for things that before chapter 1. So we have two types of numbers, Arabic number and Latin number. They are both used, and you have to know that where to put it. This is at the top. You see now, place the number in the top right corner
of the corner of the page.
Okay.
Yes.
You see now, but here when you begin, the first page will not be numbered. Start with what? Start with the second. You see now, when we start chapter 1, chapter 1 will not be numbered. You are going to begin with 2. Okay, you write 2. So what does it mean? The first page will be 1, but it is not numbered. But you are going to have number 2 for the second page of chapter 1, and then it goes this way for the cover for the other chapters. So is it clear for you?
Yes. Why we didn't write the number 1?
Sorry?
Why we didn't write the number 1 on the page?
This is the technique, by the way. This is the technique that is to be followed in any research. So we don't have to say why, but you see now, you may say that to say why because it is the beginning. So no need just to say that it is number 1.
Okay.
This is the procedure. You know, this is the methodology of writing. It is to be done by you and by many researchers. So it is a rule to be followed by writing a research, and that's it. No specific reason for that. Yeah.
No, doctor, in our research we use the two kind of numbers.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to start with the Arabic number, starting from chapter 1 till the end. Before that, you are going to have the Latin number.
That's clear. Thank you.
Headings, you see now, are handy. You use them often in So I believe that this is not necessary. Fastening the paper. Correction, by the way, you know the correction, that is when you did your printing and what you are going to do within. So try not to have any obvious correction, but if you catch an error in the last minute, correct it neatly with the blank. That is when it is to be handwriting or even typing. But now you see, now when you use printing, when you use computers, there is a chance just to correct, you see, because in printing, by the way, the chances for correction will be high. You know, when you print in computer, sometimes it is automatically to be corrected. You know, when you have misspelling or something like that, you see now. So when we have some sort of correction, we are following the new way of typing. That is what printing, using electronics. I mean, and it will be not to be considered when we have this, let me say, section when we talk about correction, because it is already to be done electronically. And with this, we finalize this chapter. And what I want you just to focus for things that we discussed, only other things will be left. So is that okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay. Now, yeah, tell me.
About page 128.
Yeah.
Just, something caught my eyes.
Yeah.
About the number of lines, the poetic lines. He
Yeah.
didn't enclose them with quotation marks. Is this intended because they are not? He wants to focus on another idea, or no? He just forgot to place them.
On page
128.
Yeah.
128.
Yeah.
I think we have to enclose them.
Yeah. I believe that here the focus is about how to put dots and the omitted words. I see, but of course you have to include them. How can you prove that this is what quotation?
This is the quotation.
Yeah. Definitely, you have to include them by two quotation marks. Okay.
Yes,
with this,
thank you very much.
With this, I'm going to tell students who want just to leave, it's okay for them. But students who want just to participate, I'm going to give additional hour starting from now till 11:30. So is that okay? Just to resume examining students, is that okay?
Yes, Doctor. It's okay.
Yes.
Now let us see Sajjad. Yeah.
Yes.
I told you that I'm going to back to you. We are going to discuss your own title now, in order just to be fair, because you are in the second group. Yeah. I'm going to choose one from the first group and the other from the second, in order just to be fair. Sajjad Falah.
Yes, Doctor.
The impact of information gap activities on young EFL learners' oral fluency. Can you tell me about these things?
Yes, Doctor. This task or technique, one of the development speaking skills. So it is a task or technique in language teaching where students are missing information necessary to complete a task or to solve a problem. And it must communicate with their classmates or other people in the class. So information gap activities are essential for real-life communication. Our learners improve their oral communication. So it's these activities develop their communication because they are helpful to make them interaction as they feel they need to communicate. So it's important to make them fluently and accurate to communicate between them. Moreover, they will help learners to learn how to communicate more fluently throughout conversation and to learn new words and pronunciation. So to make them learn more and more words and it's improve their pronunciations. Besides, they improve their spoken English and it's suitable for promoting conversation. It's make their conversing more accurate and more fluent. Instead of the traditional use of textbook, I mean instead of use academic book, and they are more fun than textbook. So it's add fun and make them enjoyable, and also they give learners chance to practice the language. So it's make the communicate people between them or students between them easable and it lead them into fluently and accuracy. And it's there's a practical part in this technique and task. Since it's like a process between students.
Okay, Sajjad. When we are dealing with this title, first of all, you have to tell which field of study you are going to say that this is for methodology, methods of teaching. This is one. Second, when you want just to tell about your, title, you are going to consider which language skill that you are going to talk about, that is a speaking skill. These are not clear. You have to consider these things when you are going to explain. This is one. And you may add, when you say that the impact of information gap activities or for speaking skill on young EFL learners oral fluency. So you have to add the word speaking in order just to know that for which skill that we are going to talk about. This is one. Second, when you say that the impact of information gap activities, okay, so you decide which learner, that is EFL learner, it's okay. But if we talk about the practical part, what is the practical part? What we are going to do? Is it a test?
It's just like a sheet and omit some words, and the other student or other people will complete this.
Yeah, so it is a test. So it is a test. So you have to tell that we have a practical part. That is what to have a test. Okay. So is it a written test? You may say a written test. A written test. So is it will be oral? So we have something to be written and something to be spoken in order just to check the speaking skill. Okay, very good, very nice. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It's okay. Now let us see Sarah.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Why do we consider language as means of communication?
Yes, doctor. The aim behind I choose this topic is for the importance, or to recognize the importance of the language as a mean of communication, and how we use language in our daily life, and for to express our emotion and feelings, and to tell news stories, or socially to chit chat, or to talk between us, or between among peoples, and persuading.
So your aim is just to recognize, if you want just
the importance of language.
To consider the aim, you are going to say the aim is to recognize
The importance of the language
the
as a means.
importance of language as a means of communication.
Yes,
So
Doctor, yes.
is that something to be proved practically, or
Yes,
you are
Doctor.
going to have only a descriptive study for that? How can you prove
No,
it? Yeah, how can you prove it?
because we use language in a practical way in every day.
I
And
know.
we speak.
Practically, what you are
Yes.
going to do? Do you have, for example, a tool for your study just to prove that?
Doctor, all tools suit for this topic. Test as test, or question list, or other means, or descriptions for the things.
Here, if you want just to prove that practically, you are going to have a test, for example,
Yes.
for students, okay?
Yeah.
And you are going to prove that they are going to use language as a means of communication. How can you do that? What kind of test that you are going to do?
Doctor, we can make a group or choral groups in classes, and
Yeah.
we deal with the topics and make them to communicate with each other to express that topics. And this is be a spoken test.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
if we are considering the topic itself,
Yes.
do you think that somebody will argue that is saying, well, language communication?
It will
Because, when you have to prove something, you see now, Sarah,
yes.
in writing a research, you have to prove something because this is something related to you. I mean,
Yes.
this is your own topic, this is your own research, and you have to add
To be
something.
persuaded, yes,
You have
Doctor.
to persuade to add something, okay? Do you think
Yeah.
that somebody will argue and say, well, language is not a means of communication? Do you feel that there is some thing to say more about these things? I mean, something not to be said. And if you want just to prove it practically, do you think that it is not approved? So I want just to ask you about these things.
Doctor, there is other side who argue with us because there is another means of communication, like a sign language, facial expression, use flags, use signals, others means of communications. But the language is more effective one to be effective in as a tool of communications.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Anyway.
maybe we use flashcards to express the language, or use words on it and write it down for the test for the students. Maybe this considered as
Well, I believe that you can modify your own title, the way that you are going to say that, for example, practical ways,
yes,
or practical techniques, or a view of practical techniques to prove the uses of language, for example, or
to make
you
it
may
more
say
persuading. Yes.
practical techniques for showing the uses of language, or practical ways to recognize the importance of using language as a means of communication.
Yes,
So you see now I'm suggesting to you different keywords, okay,
yes.
to make title more acceptable,
Just that
more,
when I
more
yes,
understood, and more clear than what is found here.
more
You know?
specific. But when I choose this topic, I deal with the language as a general.
Yeah, I know.
As a mean of communication. Yes.
I know. It is
Yes.
not a specific. But do you think that it can be covered by one research? Because you are talking about
No,
using
no.
language in general.
We should,
But
we
if you
should,
are moving to the practical part, it means that you are behind different languages. You know,
yes,
if you want
yes,
just to examine a learner of a language, okay. So
yes.
do you are sorry, do you I mean, consider the native language or the foreign language, the target
Yes.
language? So what is your I mean
There is
language
different
that you
type
are
and
going to study?
dialects.
Is that the
Yes,
native language? Because you see, native language is a means of communication, okay?
yes, 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 Doctor.
A means of
Exactly.
communication. You see now?
Yes,
So this is the idea. How many languages that you are going to tackle? So you are
yes,
going to see here, or to what? To limit your study. You may say
to make
that
it more specific. Yes,
practical ways for
yes,
showing the importance of using the foreign language as a means of communication. You see now? So it will be
yes,
more specified, and it will be easier for you to search.
it's
Got the point
clear,
now?
Doctor.
Okay.
Yes,
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Thanks a
thank
lot.
you, Doctor.
Thanks a
عفوا
lot.
دكتور أقدر
Yes,
أنتقل؟
yes, please. Okay, I'm going to have, yeah, I'm going to have one from one group 1 and one from group 2. We have Zainab Tahir. Zainab Tahir or Tahir? Zainab. Okay.
عفوا دكتور أقدر أفتح
Yes.
يعني؟
Okay, I'm going to examine you one by one, but you see now we want just to have a queue, okay? I'm choosing for those who raised their hands already. So I'm going to check you one by one. Okay, let us see. Ragad Asad?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, okay. The use of counter argument in writing. The argumentative essay. Okay. Tell me about your topic. Yes.
Yes, my topic here concerning with essay writing.
Yeah.
As we all know, any essay conclude from introduction, body, and conclusion. From the body of argumentative essay, we have counter argument and conceding and refutation.
Yeah.
So here I'm choosing the counter argument.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very important because here it gives the writer acknowledge evidence that differ from another standpoint of other people, or they might have opposing facts or opposing opinion, and help the writer to point out what they are saying, and then give a concede or refutate that they are wrong by evidence and facts.
Anyway, when you are talking about this, you are behind the style itself rather than the learner who is using, I mean, this kind of writing. You are behind the style itself, whether it is to be written by native or by foreign learner.
Yes,
okay.
Doctor, I didn't specify a sample of people because everyone would get benefit of to be a essay writer.
But you see now, what differs? What differs is the style itself. You see now, do you think that the native speaker will be compared similarly with the foreign learner? Of course, we have the difference is the mastery of language. You know, the mastery of language. You see now, when you write in Arabic, okay, as your native language, okay, it will be different from a learner of Arabic language who's using Arabic in this style. You get the point now?
Yes.
So I believe that the specification of the learner will be very important, because you see now the style, I mean, consequently will be affected. You see now,
Yes,
with
but as I
the
told
type.
you, I didn't specify a sample of people.
Here,
because I thought that it's important
you have to think that there is a practical part of your, because of course you are going to examine those who are going to write according to this style. You know the point now?
Yes.
So if it is to be native, it will be different from those who are foreigners.
Yes.
You know the point now? This is the idea.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Doctor, about the practical part,
Yeah.
here we can obtain a practice, written practice or written exercises.
Yeah. Of course, it will be
practice.
it will be an exercise in which you are going to have what a written form of the essay itself. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you.
We have Benin Hamza Mutar. Benin.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor.
Types of sentences.
Yes,
Tell me,
Doctor.
Benin,
The type
tell me
of
about this type.
Yes,
Types of
Doctor.
sentences.
I will talk about the type of the sentence. The type of the sentence is very important for us to recognize the different type of the sentence, and we use the different of the type of the sentence in our writing in order to diverse our writing and use each kind of sentence to make the paragraph is better and more professional. And if we don't know the different type of the sentence, we cannot write a paragraph. We cannot make our writing is better. We make our writing is boring, and when we use a different type of the sentence, that's very important because if we want to talk about the fact, or if we want to talk about the more information or added information to the sentence, we use simple sentence and compound and complex sentence. So we have three type of the sentence, and each sentence have action and or each sentence contains a verb and subject, and each subject and verb complete the meaning of the sentence or make the sentence start alone. And if we learn the different type of the sentence, we can determine sentence type probably and can help our to convey our idea and the question more clearly, and let us or make us focusing on sentence and how they are made and how they behave a sentence and help us to organize our idea. And if we know the different type of the sentence, we now need or we need to know how sentence work and how to grade them. So the difference of the sentence is very important for us to make or to use the different sentence in our paragraph. It's not necessary to use each kind of sentence in our paragraph, but it's important and to make the paragraph better and more professional.
Well, we know these things, but what I need you just to consider types of sentences according to whom? To whom? To which learner? To the native or to the foreign learner? You have to consider.
No, I mean English language.
I know. It is for English language, yes. But English language for native, you have to know that even these things will be tackled by native speakers. You are talking about writing. You are talking about something related to even to grammar, because you are talking about types of sentences. But here, to be used by whom? This is the question. You have to consider, things that are related to the source. I mean, those who are going to use, types of sentences. They are to be considered as native or foreign learners. This is what we need. We need just to know and consider the sample, your sample of a study. What you are going to examine. Of course, it will be practical. You have to consider those who are using these types and how they can recognize different types of sentences. But who are they? Are they native speakers or foreign learners? This is the question. So what you miss is just to consider the sample of your study.
Yes, Doctor. I mean the native speaker. If we went, for example, write paragraph about, for example, anything, I will should write more than one paragraph. For example, 3 paragraph or 4. I should or I must use the different type of the sentence. So I mean, writing, not in foreign language. I use in the native. And when I writing a paragraph, I should use the different type of the sentence.
So if it's up to you, I'm not forcing you just to say whether it is for native or for foreign learners, but it is you just to decide the sample. But I believe that the sample of the study should be recognized in the title. You may say the use of types of different types of sentences by, for example, English learners or English native speakers, just like this. Because once you are going to add those who are going to use these types of sentences, we are going to have an idea about which sample of study that you are going to use practically. This is what I want to discuss. Thanks a lot for your explanation.
Doctor, can I explain about the different type of the sentence?
No. That's it. Because I'm behind the aim and the practical part only. This will be left for you if you are going to have this title next year. Thanks a lot.
Yes, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Pardon me. I apologize for the interruption. I just want to ask you for your permission for I have an important commitment.
Yeah, tell me.
So if you don't mind, I excite the meeting. And
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Yeah. Why not? It's free. Those who want just to go now, it's okay. Those who want just to examine today, it will be okay for them. It's up to you. Yeah. It's up to you. It's up to you with the optional hour. But for the coming week, I mean, within the time of the lecture, it is not. It is obligatory. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I want just to arrange your participation. I cannot examine I mean 2 students at the same time. Let us I mean have the queue for your own participation. Zainab Daher.
Dr. Ani Zainab Mehdi.
Okay, yes. Zainab Daher, you already participated, I believe?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Zainab Mehdi?
Yes, Doctor. Good morning.
Yeah, morning. Okay, let us see your own... Yeah, I'm going to check your own assignments. Zainab Mehdi Radi.
Yes.
What is the purpose of language versus communication? Yeah, tell me about your own type. Zainab.
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah.
Language is the primary means of communication. It is through language communication, spoken or writing. The purpose of language to share our ideas or opening options and emotions with another person. And also is making sense of complex and abstract though various language are used by people.
Zainab, in order
Yes,
just
doctor.
to save time, you see, it takes too much time just to listen to these explanations. What we need is just to identify the aim and if there is a practical part for the research or not. So, what is your aim? What is your aim? What is your aim of study?
Study language or communication.
You have to decide that. You have to decide that. You are going to say what you are going to study. You are going to tackle the purposes of using language. Okay.
Yes.
Using language. Okay. In comparison with other ways of communication, you have to consider that. You are going to say that purposes of using language for communication in comparison with other ways of communication, just like signs or signals. You see now, this is what is to be considered about the title. Okay. Do you have a practical part for that? How can you prove that?
The purpose of language is making sense of complex and abstract thought, and either purpose of communication is in art of
Zainab,
yes,
please.
yes,
You are explaining. What I need you just to be specific to the point. Do you have a practical part for this? You are going to say no, because this is a descriptive study in which you are going to compare between language as a means of communication and other ways of communication, and you are going to see what are the purposes of using language specifically and leaving other ways of communication, and that's it. So your title is purely descriptive, and it doesn't have any practical part. Anyway, thanks a lot, Zain.
Yeah.
We have Shahad Faiz.
Yes,
Shahad?
doctor. Yes, doctor.
Okay. Shahad Faiz Hashim.
Yes.
Again, I want each student just to be brief, just to read the title, say the aim, say the practical part, if any. Yes. Do not explain too much. Yes. Now,
yes.
The relationship between language and cultural identity. What is your aim of study?
Yes, doctor. The aim from this topic is to show us the effect of culture on our language and how the language is fundamental to cultural identity, and how the language and culture are interactively related to dependent on each other. Also to show the way in which language and culture are connected or work together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So your aim is just what? To find the relationship among these things, okay?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So your topic is purely what? Your topic is purely descriptive. It doesn't have any practical part.
Yes, there is
only having yeah.
The aim.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Shahad.
Thanks for you.
We have Jawahir Diab.
Sorry, doctor, excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. But actually I have work, so I will leave.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay, Shahid. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay. Next time you are going to examine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
We have
inshallah.
Jawahar Diab. Jawahar Diab, not available. Tabarak Aqil.
Yeah, I'm available.
Okay. I believe that you didn't participate. I'm going
Yes,
to
yes.
I'm going to see your own assignments. Tabarak Aqil Dawood. Communicative language teaching.
Yes.
Yes.
I
Tell
will
me,
speak briefly
yes,
as
I
well.
wouldn't like just to have too much time for this.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to tell me what is your aim of study and if there is a practical part for your own topic. Yes, yes. please.
Okay. The aim of communicative language teaching is communicative competence through authentic or real-life communication.
Yeah.
So here I can say the main purpose behind communicative language teaching method is to prepare students to be confident communicator for different real-life contexts through
Yeah.
repetitive oral practices and student cooperation. In communicative language teaching, communication is the end and the means of the teaching method. This briefly, like you want.
So here, your aim is just to focus on a specific method of teaching and to highlight the importance of this method. So in this case, you don't have a practical part. You are describing the features of this method, the principles, the things that are related to the techniques of teaching this method, and that's it.
Yeah, maybe, but I have some practical technique in communicative teaching language.
Again, you are going to explain them. You are not going to examine them practically.
No,
You are going to,
task-based learning.
I see. I see.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
special person interview. In my opinion, I think a special person interview are a great example of communicative language teaching.
Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
they are essentially a series of interview that the teacher does with individual students in front of the whole class. The idea is to find out more about that student and get to know them while staying in the target language and keeping it comprehensible. In addition to that, we have class service, another technique. Yeah, also we have teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling. All that we can consider it's a practical technique.
Very good. But this is, again, it is just to explain them, I mean, and to show these things how to be done. But again, I am saying that there is no practical. It doesn't mean that you are going to have a test for these things. It doesn't mean just to have a sample for your own study. Thanks a lot.
I learned from what you said. Doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Zahra Ahmed Jawad.
نعم دكتور.
Okay. Yes, Zahra. Finite and non-finite verb phrase. Yes.
Yes, the aim of my topic
Yes.
to show in which direct action happen and in which sense that the past or present are continuous until now or happen in the future, and to show the mood of speaker that
And anyway, this is a grammatical item, and in this case, you have to show whether you are going to compare between the two finite and non-finite verb phrase, or just to what? To examine learners how to recognize between the two types. So it's left to you whether just to consider only a descriptive study in which you are going to compare between the two types, or to examine learners how to recognize the difference between the two. So what is your aim? Is it to examine students about these things, or to show the differences and that's it?
Doctor, to show the difference between them.
Okay, so if you want just to show the difference, if it is only to show the difference between the two, so it is purely descriptive, and you are not going to have something practical.
Doctor, the descriptive of finite verb phrase, that will be distinguished the tense and to be the concord and the mood of the speaker, maybe indicative mood, or relative or subjunctive mood. And the non-finite verb phrase.
Okay, although I mean your voice is not clear, but I can consider what you are saying, that you are behind showing the differences among these things. It will be a descriptive study, and it will recognize the differences only, and you don't have a practical part. Thanks a lot, Zahra.
Doctor, can I compare about them?
Yeah, I'm saying that with showing the differences, you are going to compare between the two.
Yes, to show the particular.
It's okay. It's okay. If it is a descriptive study, you are going to show the differences, and you are going to compare between the two, showing the examples to recognize what is different in the form and in the structure of each type. Thanks a lot, Zahra.
Thank you, Doctor.
Dina Muhammad.
Yes, Doctor.
Dina, yes. Yes. Dina?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, I believe that your topic is not clear in the screen. Can you tell me about it orally?
Yes.
Can you tell me about it? What is it? Because it doesn't exist in the screen. Yes.
Yes, I think the net is.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Tell me.
The theme of nature in the in Shakespeare play, King Lear.
Yeah. So, what is your aim here? It is about literature. What is your aim of study?
The aim is first of all to know and understand the culture of the other language, of the other country, of English country, and also to know the history and the way that the people thinking in that era of Shakespeare is in the era of Elizabethan era.
Yeah.
So to know that they are believing that nature and human are connected. They believe that something called the great chain of being. They believe that if something happened in the human society, it will reflect on nature. So when something like a storm happening, that means that the human did something wrong, and the God punished them by sending a storm.
Very
This
good.
is the philosophy of this era. This is
Very
the
good. So
way
here, your research is purely descriptive.
no, actually,
You may have some sort of a criticism, maybe.
yes, some, but it have a practical
What is
side.
the practical part of your research, if you are going to consider?
Dr. Raad, when teach us this subject,
Yes, yeah.
he made us do an examination, an oral examination,
Yeah.
each lecture, and it was randomly, so no one know when he will participate. So we had to read all the material. That's helped us a lot, because right now I'm fully understand the whole material.
Very good. Very good.
This is
Very
like examination, whether written or oral, are super important for us.
I'm behind your practical part of the research that you chose.
Yes,
So this is what I'm asking you about, regardless of what you are going to study. Anyway, it's a good explanation that you made. You identified the aim of your study, and I hope that if it is to be possible, just to be your topic in the coming year. Thanks a lot, Dean.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Zahra Ali Rada?
Yes, Doctor, I'm here. My title, Human Language.
Okay, I'm going to check.
Okay, Doctor.
Zahra Ali Rada Dawood.
Yes, Doctor. Human language allows speakers to express ideas in sentences.
Zahra,
Yes, Doctor.
what I need you just to consider, what is the aim? What is the aim, and what is the practical part? I wouldn't like you just to have much explanation, because we don't have time. So,
Okay,
what is your aim of study?
The aim of the human language, the study of the human language, it is to learn reading book and writing, and use in speaking to express feeling, and for communication and dialects. But the practical part, when we speaking and creating a conversation, is the practical application of language. The second, when speakers develop their language, they put into practical the language. And the third, the language is also applied in conversation and news. Yes,
very good.
The
So
language
in this
is
case,
also the language is also used to talk with the family and the friends. Language benefits our aim, discourse and dialect and communication as the primary means of communication, understanding and expressing of feeling.
So in this case, again, it is a descriptive study in which you are going to show what are the features of human language. Okay, and these things will be explained. You are going to collect information from the sources in relation to these things, and you are going to recognize them in your own research. So it is a descriptive study, and I believe that you don't have a practical part. Is that okay?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Doctor.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, can I suggest my topic? Because the internet will become.
Your name is?
Fatma Fadel.
Fatma Fadel. You have a problem with your internet? Okay, I'm going to check your own title now. But you see now, I'm following the cue, but you see, if there is a condition for that, I'm going to help students for examining their own titles. And you know that it is not the only lecture. I'm going to have other lectures, and if the chance is not okay for students today, they have other chances for the coming lectures.
Inshallah.
Anyway, we have Fatma. Yeah, Fatma Fadil. Let us see Fatma Fadil. Differences between traditional grammar and linguistics. Yes, Fatma.
Yes, Doctor. Doctor, firstly, there is manners of studying language is so different. As we know, linguistic is descriptive, while traditional grammar is prescriptive, and it put specific rules to study a language. The aims behind these things show the difference between the two and make comparison between them to recognize what is more particular or useful or accurate for students or masters in studying language. This is the aim, I think. About the practical, I think the two have practical part. That traditional grammar put rule, even the grammar put rule of grammar. Even grammar is traditional or old, but it help the foreign learners to recognize or to not be confused when they use language. About linguistic. I think it's a particular part in practice.
Well, for these things, again, I'm saying that the practical part is just to have a test or a questionnaire or checklist, and there is a sample. But if you have something, please, Fatma, if you have something just to be explained only, that is a descriptive study, and it doesn't need just to have a practical part. As I said earlier, that not all researchers have a practical part. If it needs, it's okay. If it's not, and that's why even in the instruction I said, if any, if you have. So it doesn't mean, do not force yourself just to have a practical part. And if the study is descriptive, so no need to have a practical part. It's just to have the topic itself to be discussed and to be recognized, and that's it. So it will be a descriptive study. Yeah.
Can we consider the practice is practical?
No. The practical part is just to have a tool for a study. You know the word tool, T-O-O-L. So if we don't have a tool of a study, just like a test, questionnaire, checklist, so we don't have practical. Not all research.
Traditional grammar
No. It's a matter of comparison. It's a matter of comparison. It is a descriptive study, so it doesn't need a practical part. Okay. Zainab Muhammad Ali.
So,
Zainab.
Doctor, before Zainab exam, can you send a recording lecture after
yeah,
lecture?
of course. Once I finish, by the way, still I'm recording.
Yes,
all these
Doctor,
things.
because my internet very weak today and can't listen about.
By the way, the lecture, once it is recorded, you can listen carefully, and everything is clear. You can listen to my voice. Other time, and you can have the notes of things that are discussed. So
yes,
once I finish the lecture, and by the way, you can see even the written form you see now. If the voice is not clear, you can see the written form of my speech, and
yes,
it is to be here. And if the voice is not clear, you can see the written form. Anyway, I want just to have only 2 students, because you see now time is about just to be over. Sorry. So here we have Zainab Muhammad and Fatma Ali Abdul Wahid. So let us see Zainab Muhammad.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, Zainab Muhammad. Zainab Muhammad Ali Hussein. Language and communication. Again,
Yes.
briefly speaking, Zainab, I need you just to consider what is your aim, and if you have a practical part.
Yes. So, language is important to culture and society. So the aim of language is to help us to express our feelings and thoughts. So this is unique to our species because it's a way to express unique idea and customs within different culture and society. So and the use of language is present in every day and every situation. So yeah, it have a particular part to communication with other people. So it was like it could be verbally or non-verbally action, or to be by chat, by written, or signals or science.
Zainab, what I want you just to know, and this is what is emphasized earlier. Of course, each topic has a practical part in the way that we have to recognize it. Practically, but you see now, this is not when we talk about the practical part of a research. The practical part of a research means that how to prove it. By using a tool. This is what is to be understood by you all. That is what I have a tool, I have a sample, and then I'm going to use the tool to collect information practically. That is a test, or let me say questionnaire, or a checklist. So this will not go for all researches. So when we want just to have a descriptive study, only just to mention information or have some sort of comparison, these things are descriptive purely. What does it mean purely? It means that it doesn't need, when I say it doesn't need, what does it mean here? We cannot force ourselves to have a practical part, because it doesn't need just to have a tool to prove. It means that I'm going to have the information or the collected from resources, or I'm having things just like evidences to be considered as support of my own topic. So this is what I'm having for a practical part. It doesn't mean that practical part is not found in topics. No. The meaning of practical part in research writing is a tool for study. That's it. So if it doesn't need, we are not going to have, let me say, a force, or let me say, it is not just to be forced to be found in the research. So is it understood by you, Zainab? We know that we have a practical part, but the practical part for research writing means a tool of study. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Let us see Fatma Ali will be the last one.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. Fatma, your name is not found here. We have Fatma Fadl, Fatma Kadam, Fatma Khair, and then we have. Okay.
And
Did you send your? Did you send your own? I mean, assignment here. Did you send it here?
Yes, Doctor.
So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Today morning. Send.
Okay, but well, you know, I gave you 2 weeks, by the way. Why not just to send it earlier? Because you see now this will I mean, compute things that are sent early. Anyway, tell me orally, what is your topic? What is your topic?
Yes, that affixes of morpheme. Affix is about morpheme that occur before or within or after a base. There are a kind prefix and infix and suffix, two of which you have already met a passing. Now we shall deal with them in great detail. A prefix those bound morpheme that occur before a base and is, for example, on board a prefix. Reconsider a prefix in English are small classes or of morpheme numbered of synthetic 5. Their meaning are often those of English preposition and adverbials. And the two kinds of the infix are bound morpheme that have been inserted within a word in English. These are rare. Coincidentally, there are addition with a word is a gate at Apple, where the
Fatma, okay, you gave a good explanation of the topic, but what I need you again, just to be brief, what is your aim, and if you have a practical part of your study? What is your aim of the study? What is your aim? The aim.
The aim of
the say it in one sentence. What is your aim?
That it is aim of the affixes that it is we can add affixes of the before or model or the end of the word. يعني نقدر
Yes.
يعني نقدر إنه نضيف يعني إضافات في بداية الكلمة أو في وسط الجملة أو في نهاية الجملة من
that is just to what to recognize this kind of affixes, okay? In comparison with the other type, okay? So your aim is just to compare, okay, and to show what are the features of certain affixes in comparison with others. So briefly speaking, again, it is a descriptive study. You are not going to check the performance, for example, of learners, how to use these things. But your topic can be practical when you choose a sample for a study. And then this sample of study will be examined to show how can they use these suffixes. Did you understand me? So your topic can be descriptive if you want just to show the differences of the suffixes and the uses of them. But it can be practical when you choose a sample that is learners of English language, okay, and they are going to be examined whether they are able to use these things perfectly or not. Did you understand me, Fatma? Did you understand me or not?
No.
Well, I'm saying that your topic can be descriptive only. You know the word descriptive? That is what? Only explanation.
Yes.
And it can be looked differently when you are going to have a practical part, when you have a sample for a study, and this sample of study will be examined using the suffixes that you explained. Is that okay?
Yes.
Thanks a lot for all students who participated today, and of course it will be open for other participation for the coming lectures.
Doctor,
Today, yes, yes, please.
we
Yes.
hope that we did well in the exam.
Well, I believe that so many students did well in the exam, and you know, it is not only an exam. It is the way
Yes,
that
yes.
you understood. What I want you just to consider that it is not only just to put marks, but we want just to understand what we do.
Yes, yes, Doctor.
You did something, and my role is to correct, to modify, to explain.
Yes, Doctor. That's good.
Okay. Thanks
Yes.
for you all.
Sorry.
And still, we are going to continue examination for the coming lecture. Thanks a lot for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.